Thankful to have my family, my friends, and my colleagues here this evening. Thank you to my General Minute of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, Terry Ford Owens, my Regional Minister, Reverend Rick Splett, and Dr. David Malott, the President of Christian Theological Seminary, where I did my graduate work, and I did graduate. They embody the progressive Christian voice that makes possible a more inclusive faith. I want to thank my friend J.R. Sadadi for co-chairing this event with the political leaders who are here today. And I must give a shout out to my Mayor Brainerd, the President of Carmel City Council, Jeff Worrell, and former President and now member of the Carmel City Council, Kevin Woody Ryder, for their being here tonight. I respect you all for your courage to stand for inclusiveness, diversity, and the value of all human beings. My father has transitioned to the spirit side, and my mother is 93 years old and is physically not able to be here tonight. But without their love and faith and values and support and guidance, I would not be the person who I am today. In 1987, when I came out of seminary and I served as my first pastorate at Augusta Christian Church in Indianapolis, I joined, that day, the cutting edge of interfaith work was Jewish Christian dialogue. But with my colleagues and friends, Rabbis Dennis and Sandy Sasso, K.P. Singh of the Sikh tradition, Dr. Shahid Attar from the Muslim tradition, Hamilton Ness from the Baha'i faith, we joined together to create the Indianapolis Interfaith Alliance. In 1991, I moved to Fort Wayne and Florence, Kentucky to do my pastorates. But when I moved back here in 2014 to become the pastor at Carmel Christian Church in Carmel, Indiana, I heard of this person named Charlie Wiles, who had taken the embers of that first group and had created the Center for Interfaith Cooperation. And when I learned of the amazing work and programs and the different activities and commitment to our greater Indianapolis area, I was so overwhelmed and excited. I needed to meet this man. And what a great visionary and courageous man who's led this interfaith organization for 11 years. I think we need to give Charlie Wiles a round of applause. Charlie, stand up. I accept this award, not just for me, but on behalf of all of those who have been doing this important work for many years with no recognition, but because it's the right and good thing to do. Let me say that again. I accept this award, not just for me, but for all those others who are doing this important work with no recognition, but because it's the right and good thing to do. When the Dalai Lama came to Indianapolis, he knew of the interfaith work happening in Louisville, Bloomington, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, South Bend, and Chicago. And he said, when interfaith work happens on the East Coast or West Coast, it stops. But when it happens in the Midwest, there's a ripple effect that moves through our country that creates bridges of peace and unity where there have been walls of hostility. When you get tired and wonder if the work you're doing does make a difference, I want you to remember back to 35 years ago and how far we've come. There are over 15 interfaith organizations in Indiana, 7 peace centers, and interfaith groups on many of our college campuses. I want you to take a moment and look around your table. Look around at the other tables beside you. See the diversity of race in culture and faith that are here tonight. The joy and the harmony that we experience is because of our desire to come together beyond our differences. Not that we will become somebody else's faith. We celebrate our own faith, but we cross over, respecting each other and finding ways to bring harmony and shalom to our country. When we manifest that love, the power of that will bring walls of hostility. As my wife, Reverend Diane says, we bring walls of hostility into tables where we can break bread together for all of God's people and bring shalom. I hope our time together tonight will inspire you to take that next step, to do something on your own way that can make that difference. When Diane and I moved back to Carmel, Indiana, and I became the pastor in 2014, I met with Mayor Brainerd, and we created the Carmel Interfaith Alliance. My friend, Dr. Shahida Tar, who was there with us at the very beginning of the first organization in 1989, had moved to Carmel, Indiana. And so he joined us as we created the Carmel Interfaith Alliance into an active, vibrant organization. After a couple of years of our working together, he discovered that he had terminal cancer. We wanted to have an Interfaith Thanksgiving service where we could give him the Interfaith Ambassador of the Year award for Carmel to recognize his 40 years of wonderful service. He knew we were giving him this award because he was dying. That evening he was frail and he walked with a cane. He was weak and we had to help him up to the chancel. And he couldn't stand long enough, and so we had him sit in a chair and we stood around him. And with a weak voice, but with deep conviction, he looked up at us and he said, "Don't put flowers on my grave. Do this important work." There were many of us who had tears in our eyes that night because we knew this good friend of ours was dying and we would miss him. But he still had the courage and conviction to challenge us to not put flowers on his grave, but do this important work. And so tonight, my friends, if there's one thing that you take with you, continue to do this important work, for it does make a difference.